I'm Brittany with Birth It Forward, certified birth and bereavement doula, certified yoga instructor, and family photographer.
Hi, I'm Kristen Mason. I'm also with Birth It Forward. I am a certified birth, postpartum, and bereavement doula, a childbirth educator, and a student midwife. And today we are going to be doing a series on induction. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And let's get ready to hear from some doulas who know squat.
So let's get into how to prepare your body for birth, whether that's induction at home or at a hospital.
Ah, sounds great. So, one of the first things that I always talk to my clients about whenever they're asking me how to prep at home is nipple stimulation. And one of the easiest ways to do that is actually going to be pumping.
Totally agree. Now, something to keep in mind with pumping is it can take 2 to 3 days before it really builds up the hormones in your body to really take effect for it to start working. So if you know that your due date is coming or that you're past your due date and you're really wanting to get things started before you try other induction methods or before you go into the hospital for an induction method, you'll want to try pumping 2 to 3 days, preferably 3 days prior to whatever that induction method would be.
Right. So let's talk about safety when it comes to nipple stimulation a little bit. It is effective for helping to prep your cervix, but it is not effective enough for it to actually put you into labor if your body is not ready to be put into labor. So the idea that you don't want to do this because it might throw your body into labor super easily. If it did, then we wouldn't need anything else in this video. If it was that effective, then it would just be like, oh, you need to have a baby, then just strap a pump on and start going. However, everything that we talk about in this, definitely talk to your practitioner about the fact that you would like to do these things first and make sure that it applies to your particular situation. But it is still quite effective, like Brittany was saying, if you start doing it at least 3 days before you are wanting to start trying to get baby out. There's actually a really great Co-Train trial, which is just a really great site that puts a bunch of different studies together and then analyzes them. And I am an absolute junkie for it. It actually finds that people who pump they're significantly more likely to be in labor in the next 72 hours than people who do not pump for those 3 days.
Fantastic.
It also lowers your hemorrhage risk, which is something that I'm a
Nice.
huge fan of. So if that is
Yeah.
something that you are concerned about for one reason or another, maybe your midwife has you eating alfalfa like no one's business, or your doctors have talked to you about wanting to give you a shot of vitamin K, do that managed care right after, not my vitamin K, of Pitocin, right after you give birth, do that managed care. Vitamin K is great for clotting too, but not what I was talking about. Then this can also be a really great tool in your belt to kind of help with that hemorrhage. This is not effective for people who have what we call an unfavorable cervix, though. So if you are have no dilation whatsoever, it's less effective than people who have started dilating a little bit on their own.
Totally agree. So my brain was firing on all kinds of things as you were talking, and now it's out the door.
It's to the best of us. Yeah.
you
So
know,
do we want to talk about how to do that? What kind of
yeah.
regimen do you talk to your clients about for pumping?
Usually I just tell them to do like a power pump session once or twice a day. You don't have to do a lot of pumping, and you don't have to have it on a very high setting either. If you do have it on a super high setting, you're more likely to damage your breasts and nipples, so that when baby comes, it's going to be much more uncomfortable and difficult for you to breastfeed. So keep it on a low setting as you are stimulating things. You don't have to use a pump either. You can also stimulate with hand expression if that is more your speed. Watch some videos on how to hand express. If you aren't going to hand express and you're going to do a pump, you can do a manual pump, or you can do a one of the pumps, which electric pumps. Sorry, totally. Yes, an electric pump. You want to make sure your flange is the right size as well, so that again, you don't have nipple damage as you're using your pump. But generally, again, I'm talking a power 1 to 2 tops a day moving into it.
Awesome. For at least 3 days before.
Yes, at least 3 days, 1, 2, 3, prior to your induction time or to the time when you want to have your baby. So
Great. Okay. Let's move on to our next home prep option, primrose oil.
love primrose oil.
Yeah, tell us about it.
So as a doula, we can't recommend primrose oil, but we can talk about it and I can give you the information about it. Primrose oil is a natural substance that comes from, it's from a primrose plant, like the little buds off of it. But basically what you would do is you have the option of both doing it orally or vaginally. You can do both at the same time as well, as long as you talk to your provider and see what they recommend, see what your body has reactions to. But personally, my midwife had recommended me do two vaginally and 1 orally. So, but what you're wanting to do is you build this up in your system and it's a couple weeks prior. So you want to start around 34 to 36 weeks of gestation in order to help your body begin to build up the hormones that are going to soften your cervix and make it nice and gooey for it to start to expand. I know I said soften already, so I'm like, what's another word? Let's say gooey.
You're not wrong. Okay, great. I really hope I don't think that the next time I'm doing a cervical check. Ooh, you're nice and gooey. My clients,
You're gonna love
I'm
gooey.
sorry, I'm what?
What does that mean? You know, the words that come to mind.
Yep. Fortunately, I think that's going to come to mind now. Anyway,
Yeah.
keep going.
There are some risk factors to be aware of with primrose oil. Trying to pull them up in my brain files here.
Hey.
Do you have them in your brain offhand?
So, anytime that you're inserting anything into your vaginal canal, you risk infection.
Yes.
That's going to be one of the big ones with primrose oil, or you can have an allergic reaction because you didn't know that you were allergic to it. Both of those things can absolutely happen. Primrose oil itself probably not going to cause much cramping, or anything of that nature. It's more of just a thinning, prep kind of softening of the cervix. But then there is also not everyone believes that primrose oil does much. So there's also the risk of you purchasing something and using it and kind of relying on it and then it not really being very effective for you.
Something to think about with that in mind is primrose oil is meant to work with other things. It's not meant to be your main induction option or body prep option. It is meant to work with pumping, with the squats, with the walking, with your positioning. And it's meant to be before you would go into the hospital. As we said, you need to do it 34 to 36 weeks prior to the birth of your baby. So again, this is a long-term option for you to use.
Yeah, it's always the conversation you have with someone about primrose oil can be very similar to when you're talking about red raspberry leaf tea. Now, you're never going to
Yes.
be inserting red raspberry leaf tea vaginally, but there's definitely people that swear up and down that it does the same thing for the cervix of getting it nice and soft. And a softer cervix is going to be more pliable. It's going to make change easier than a harder cervix. Think about like the difference between touching the tip of your nose and kind of how hard that is versus your lips and how soft that is. You would have a much easier time adjusting a soft than a hard one.
Well, and as we know, the lips do talk and move where your nose doesn't.
Does not. No, it's pretty stationary. It flares, but that's about it. Yes. So kind of in that same realm, this is to make your cervix more favorable. It may or may not have a large effect, but there are people who absolutely swear by both of these, that it made a big difference between their labor, between when they did prep their body with this or if they did not prep their body with it. It's, to me, they're in a very similar category.
Agreed. And going back to red raspberry leaf, that's one that you would drink throughout your pregnancy. So again, it's a long term, and it's not just about softening the cervix with red raspberry leaf. That one also helps to tone the uterus as a whole and helps to prepare your body as a whole to have the baby. So again, it's a long term.
That's the idea. Yes. And there's some midwives that I talk to that, because obviously I'm trying to study under many different people. So I have these conversations with a bunch of different practitioners that will say, absolutely, I tell all of my clients to drink raspberry leaf tea. It helps with toning the uterus. It helps, therefore, a toned uterus is less likely to hemorrhage, things of that nature. And then there's some that say, I don't think it does anything, but if people want to drink it, then that's fine. So it's just, and for some people, yeah, it's very interesting for these things because you're not going to see a study on red raspberry leaf tea.
No, there are really no studies out there, but
Right.
there are correlations that we see. There are some midwives that when you hire them, they actually provide you a bag of loose leaf tea, which includes red raspberry leaf. And they include that because they have seen many cases where it has made a difference when mom drank it versus the next mom that didn't drink it. And they saw some very big differences. But isn't that the whole premise of midwives and midwives' tales and, learning things through handing down the knowledge?
Exactly. Okay. Pineapple. What thoughts do we have on pineapple?
You can eat it if you enjoy it, but it's not going to help you get your labor going.
You have to eat so much pineapple
Like
that you wouldn't be
stick
getting your protein in. So it's delicious.
It's a crazy amount. And pineapple has so much of an acid in it, you'll actually burn your mouth before you get to the point of it helping you have your baby and preparing your body. So it's really going to do you more damage than it will do you help. So just enjoy it. It's just something to enjoy.
Absolutely. Okay, here's the fun one that everybody loves doing to, well, not everybody. Some people are like, do not touch me towards the end of their pregnancies. But what about sex?
Sex is a great one. So you have lots of things here that sex is doing to help prepare your body. Semen, make sure they ejaculate within the vagina. Semen actually has a property that helps to soften the cervix of its own. So just getting that near there in conjunction with the other things that you're doing. But sex in general also helps your body produce a lot of extra oxytocin. You're feeling that love from your partner. You're feeling a lot of other things that come in here. And then it's also instigating contraction within your uterus, your cervix, your vaginal canal. All of these things are working together to give you that peak.
Yeah, it's amazing. I always will tell clients that are, for one reason or another, needing to get baby out sooner rather than later. God's grand design for getting that baby out is just right there for us, right? We've got the perfect chemical setup to help labor start, all right there, just
Right there.
having sex. There's so many
Everything
different things that combine that you would have to do separately. You've got the nipple stimulation, you've got the chemical release from the orgasm, you've got the chemical release from the male orgasm. It's
all right there in a nice tidy package.
pretty darn perfect. And the number of times that I've had people apologize to me when I show up to their birth and they're like, we took your advice. Sorry.
Good. Please take the advice. That's why I gave it to you.
Get in the water to give birth.
Yeah. Now, again, something to think about it is your body has to be ready to go into labor for it to actually instigate labor.
Right.
You can't just say, okay, I'm ready to have my baby. Let's go have sex now. And then 2 minutes later, you're starting labor. It's not going to work that way.
No,
Your
no,
body has
not
to
at
be
all.
ready for labor for it to work. So you can, again, work with the other aspects and build it up, build up that oxytocin, build up the softening hormone that's within the semen, build up your own hormones within your own body using sex, if that's what you want, or just enjoy it. Go have fun.
Yeah, or it could just be fun.
Yeah, just go have fun, because when baby comes, it's recommended not to have sex for 6 to 8 weeks while your body heals. And honestly, you may not want to for months. So
you might not. You might. You might not.
You never know.
Okay, kind of in that same line, what about squats?
All right, squats are a great thing. Squats are going to help open your hips and pelvis. Squats are going to potentially help bring baby down, but that's not that's not the main goal of squats, because you're not helping baby come down. You're just giving baby that space to come down. So ultimately, you're also strengthening your legs and toning your legs. You're not toning anything internally. You might be using some ab work and helping your pelvic floor as you do squats, but the squat is more for prepping your body to have an open pelvis for baby to come through.
So if I am wanting to give birth in the next week or so, would I be doing like 50 squats a day to try and pop it out?
No, don't do that. Do a workout with a set number of squats. Get your body used to getting in that position, because if you want to labor in that position, your body needs to be ready for that. And again, you don't want to start this at 39 weeks. Squats is something that you're going to start early on, preferably before you even think about having a baby and getting pregnant, so that your body is prepared for this. One of the biggest recommendations for exercise with pregnant women is not to do it for the first time during your pregnancy. However, we have found that it is okay to start some general things through your pregnancy with exercise, but the
Especially
main thing,
stretching.
yes, stretching, some basic yoga. You don't want to go super intense with weight training and stuff, because your body's not ready for it. It's going to kind of spaz out. You want to listen to your body when you're adding any kind of exercise. And squat, walking, those things are an exercise. And if it's not something you've done before, take it slow, take it easy, do a few, let your body feel how it works, how it feels, and how you're reacting to that particular exercise. You don't want to go in guns blazing, oh, this feels great, I can do 20 of these right now. And then tomorrow, you're going to feel it, and you're going to be like, and I can't do that now. And I don't ever want to do it.
Yes. And something that we really don't want to go into labor with is sore legs.
No.
And kind of on that same vein of thought, this is the same opinion that I have for trying to get yourself into labor with exercise of any kind. And my main pet peeve is curb walking. If you have a baby that is what we call asynclitic, if someone has told you baby sitting wonky in your pelvis, baby is trying to look up while coming out, or head to the side, or has an arm up, or something along those lines that they have diagnosed via ultrasound, or if they palpated your belly and can feel baby's head and it is not central, then curb walk. That's its purpose. If your baby is showing no signs of being wonky in your pelvis, it does nothing but wear you out and exhaust you. It's not helpful. It doesn't do any more than going for a regular walk. But what it can do is make your legs real tired and get your hips popping. Maybe even introduce some pubic symphysis, where your pubic bone sitting like this starts doing this because you've been walking at a funky angle and popping it when it's full of relaxin. It can actually cause you to be more uncomfortable than just regular walking. Going up and down the stairs sideways, that's kind of dangerous. There are reasons to do these things, but only if it's to correct the direction the baby is coming down in. If you don't have that, it's not going to be helpful to you. You might as well go for a regular walk. And even then, don't wear yourself out. If you don't normally go for walks, like Brittany was saying, slowly build up. And I would really encourage you to start doing that now, right? Build yourself up to it being normal for you to go for walks. If you have hip pain, if you have pubic symphysis, put your binders on, put your K-tape on, do what you need to do to get everything nice and comfy and put together, and then do those things, because we don't want to go into labor exhausted. I am huge about protecting maternal energy levels. It is so sad to see somebody so tired when the baby is born that they don't really get the full, this is my newborn, and is so fun and amazing experience because they're so tired.
Yeah.
So kind of keeping that in mind, that the goal at the end of this is a baby that we want to be awake to greet, not just labor.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Um, and then a note on that curb walking, don't go straight into it. If your baby is off kilter, that's not the first thing you're going to do. We can do another video talking about that later, but you need to prepare your body and loosen those muscles so that the curb walking actually does what it needs to do. So something else that you can do to prepare for birth, and this is something that you can do anytime really, but mostly getting ready to go in and have your baby. And that's, I love it. Spinning babies, three sisters of balance. You need to balance your hips. You need to balance your pelvis. Both are the same thing.
Like, okay.
You need
That's
to
fine.
balance your body and prepare it to
Mhm.
begin this work. Because if your hips are even just slightly off, those contractions are going to have a much different effect than a pelvis that is fully level and in place. If you have muscles that are tight on one side versus the other side, again, those contractions are going to work very differently for each side of your pelvis. And then you might end up with an asymptotic baby.
Yeah, that's where they come from for the most part.
Exactly.
The theory on it is that babies fill the space that they are given, right?
Mhm.
So if one side of your pelvis is up high and tight and hard, uncomfortable, the baby is more likely to gravitate towards where they fit and is nice and soft because they like to cuddle nice soft things. And then their head is not evenly applied to your cervix. And so then you're not getting the full, what's called the Ferguson effect of the head fully applied to cervix. That's going to cause that dilation, the thinning, the softening, that whole bit. And so that's when that nice evenness is so important. Can you give birth with a pelvis that's not straight, with a piriformis that's tight as all get out, with a psoas that's so intensely just hard and squeezed tight? No one's released that thing since you were, a wee one. Yes, absolutely. Babies are born that way all the time. We Americans sit and don't stretch like crazy. Absolutely. Is it going to take longer and probably be more difficult? Probably. These things, and so this is where we're talking about like prepping for it. That these stretches, these balances are going to at the very least make it a smoother ride, right? And that's something that can't really be proven, except that you look at and say people who did do this versus people who didn't do this, how successful do we see it? Anecdotally, I see it a lot in my practice.
Yes. And as a mom who, coming into birth for the first time versus a mom who's had multiple babies and prepared the body properly, you can see it in the way that experience went. Personally, I have experienced it. And I see it in the clients that do the work versus the clients that don't.
Right. Yeah, and we're going to talk about quite a bit as this series continues. The big goal in early labor is getting baby engaged, getting baby that is sitting nice up high. We call them floaty babies. That's up in the out of the pelvis and up in your rib cage and making it hard for you to breathe. We want them to come down into the pelvis. And one of the best ways to do that is to make room for them. But we're probably not going to be able to just suddenly make room for them the day of if you haven't been kind of teaching those muscles to relax, Teaching your hips where they're supposed to be, really training that fascia, the connective tissue between your muscles and your bones, to release and hold and tighten things where they're supposed to go. It's a prep work that makes doing it in labor more intuitive, easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the whole point for me of yoga and how I got into yoga was
Yeah, that's where
prepping
your
my
passion.
body. Yeah, and just feeling good in my body throughout
Yeah.
the pregnancy, you know?
That's nice.
Yes, it is. You better be doing yoga, girl.